Hello and welcome to this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. I'm Tharindu Amarasekara.
And I am Megha Ravijayamana. This is the sound of profitability.
Sri Lanka's Colombo Stock Exchange has set up an agreement with India's NCDex in order to set up a derivative exchange at the port city, according to the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange, Dilshan Weerasekara. Sri Lanka Securities and Exchange Commission called for expressions of interest to set up a multi-asset class exchange, but it required the operator to have experience in derivatives. The Colombo Port City is a dollarized special economic zone with currency competition that will be free from the central bank's open market operations and rate cuts, and will not include or require exchange controls and will have monetary stability.
The European Union's GSP Plus scheme becomes more important for Sri Lanka as the growing global economic trade uncertainties pose as a major threat after US President Donald Trump imposes reciprocal tariffs. With a reported visit by EU representatives to assess GSP Plus, it is important to note that in the absence of the current tariff preferences, Sri Lanka will face a tariff increase up to most favoured nation levels, likely resulting in export losses and associated negative labour market effects. The tariff hike in the EU 28 will cause an export loss of US dollars 1.23 billion or 36.7% of EU 28 bound exports from the base year 2019 exports. In 2023, Sri Lanka's exports to the EU 28 were 3.63 billion US dollars or 30.08% of the total export revenue, which spanned across 1,301 products, according to the Institute of Policy Studies report.
According to the data from the Coconut Development Authority, the average prices of the coconuts in Sri Lanka have gone up by 7.7% at the weekly auction. This is mainly due to the upcoming festive season and the anticipated demand. The CDA imposed a price cap of 140 rupees a nut for 4 sessions from January 23rd to March 13th, during which volumes dropped. The highest price was 157,100 rupees for 1,000 nuts, while the lowest was 133,100 rupees for 1,000 nuts. Ahead of the island nation's major season in April for holidays, coconuts are retailing at 205 to 230 rupees a nut, depending on the size, at supermarkets. Coconut oil local wholesale price was 860,000 to 875,000 rupees per metric ton. Copra was at 120,000 to 137,500 rupees per 250 kilograms. Time for the corporate highlights. News from the M&A arena. Brown's Investments plc acquired 26.16% of Sierra Cables plc from Sierra Holdings Limited at a 1.7 billion rupee investment. The stake amounting to 140.6 million shares was bought at 12.3 rupees each. Sierra Holdings divested its stake of 26.67% or 146 million shares at a price ranging from 16 and 12.3 rupees per share. Following the trades, Brown Investments plc and its wholly owned subsidiary, Iconic Trust Limited, now collectively own 56.59% stake in Sierra Cables plc. Iconic Trust previously held 30.4% stake.
Sri Lanka's DFCC bank has listed 5,746,239 new ordinary voting shares after a scrip dividend. The shares have been listed pursuant to a scrip dividend according to its CSE filing, and the stock rose by 1.96 LKR to 104 LKR after the announcement. And here is Tharindu with the ESG update of the week.
The Asian Development Bank will help Sri Lanka sell thematic debt securities, which is one step beyond the initial green bonds that have already been sold by some. Thematic bonds or sustainability-linked bonds can be sold by both the government and the private sector. DFCC Bank made the first green bond issue in September 2024, followed by Alliance Finance plc, a non-bank financial institution, in February 2025. ADB will work closely with accrediting and auditing agencies for disclosure and reporting requirements which increases the investors' confidence. Sri Lanka has also developed a green bond framework for the government to sell sovereign securities. Here's Megara with this week's international update of the week.
The Heathrow airport had to close due to a fire in a nearby power substation. Around 200,000 passengers were affected and around 1,300 flights were disrupted. Friday's shutdown was caused by a fire in an electrical substation in the town of Hayes, just a few miles from the airport, which disrupted the local power supply. Arrivals into Heathrow were due to land from cities across the globe, including Sydney, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Singapore, Johannesburg, New York, and Miami. Authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the substation blaze, which is still burning but is now under control. So far, there are no signs of foul play, according to the police.
And that's it for this week's LOLC Securities Weekly Market Roundup. No matter what investment decision you make it with the right intel. We will see you next week.